Okay, so let the facts come out and then we will have come to a conclusion. But Swapan Dasgupta, you know, this is certainly not the first case of intolerance. We saw the Bhandarkar Oriental Institute being attacked because it housed the book on Shivaji by James Lane. We've seen the art students in Vadodara being attacked. We've seen M.F. Hussain being attacked. I mean, the instances of the cultural police are increasing. Is it because governments simply do not want to rein in these groups, Hindu and Muslim, because the governments or politicians stand to profit by them? There is no strong law and order initiative from the point of view of the government which actually controls these groups.
Well, I think the answer to that was quite evident in the earlier response by Mr. Owaisi. Let's not forget he was being extremely squeamish in outrightly condemning the violence, partly because I think his organization took a very major role in throwing flower pots and other things at Taslima Nasreen when she visited Hyderabad, and they said quite unashamedly that they were quite proud of their role in harassing her. Now, I think the real problem here lies in the fact that civil society, as we see it today, has actually truncated its bounds of tolerance, and more important, it has allowed a small minority of people to actually determine the tone and tenor of the public debate. Now, if 2,000 activists of one description or the other get up and either burn a library, burn a newspaper office, issue some ridiculous threats against somebody, you know, that becomes the dominant tone and everyone sets about reacting to that. And so it's more... And governments are afraid of taking action, partly because they feel that if you really take any precipitate action, if you clobber people who are issuing such threats, that will become an electoral liability, and that will also lead to a spiraling effect. So competitive victimhoods are being created. And I think this is a larger problem. It's not merely one. I think today in Karnataka we saw only one manifestation of that.
Right.
But it's been happening all over. And it's really quite a worrying thing for India, because I feel that the bounds of what constitutes legitimate discourse is really getting truncated each day. The Lakshman Rekha is being redrawn and narrowed.
That's a very good point. Let's put that to the politician on the panel. Assaduddin Owaisi, isn't this happening because of the politicians? The politicians know that voting lies in victimhood. Voting lies in creating anger, in creating resentment, and therefore you spur up your communities, you on the Muslim side, others on the Hindu side, to go and act like this simply in order that you can reap the electoral benefits. That's the problem. There's electoral benefit here.
Sagarika Swapan Dasgupta should officially say that he's a member of BJP. But anyway, coming back to your question, and there are important issues for the Muslim community. Their livelihood issue is there. Their security issue is there. Their jobs issue is there.
No,
why do you think that we will indulge in all these activities?
When you attacked Taslima Nasreen in 2007, when your party attacked her, when she was launching her book in Hyderabad, didn't you think that you would get some electoral mileage from that?
Sagarika, for God's sake, you are degrading the public verdict which has come in favor of us. We have won. I won a parliament election. Do you think that I won election because of that single act which the courts have had to decide? Kindly don't degrade the public opinion, the public verdict. I mean, there are more important things which people keep in mind and note. I mean, if that is that is the wrong conclusion which you and Swapan Dasgupta are arriving at. What we are saying is that, for God's sake, let Taslima Nasreen go out of this country. Why is it that she has to be kept over here? For what? What is her? I mean, I don't know. Is she a Kohinoor diamond for the government of India?
No, she's not here in any case. She's
I mean,
in
if that
the
is the case, I mean, but her visa has been extended for 6 months. Why is it? I mean, why is the government of India getting a bad name? Let me put you a very clear example. One person wanted to make a movie on the alleged romance between Pandit Nehru and the Lady Mountbatten. Government of India did not give permission because the script had something wrong in it. What I am saying is that if you don't like a script, you don't give a permission. But here you have a writer who writes rubbish. But at the same time, creates animosity, creates division amongst Muslim and Hindus, gives an opportunity, a platform to the Hindutva elements to propagate their ideology. And at the end of the day, what we have is loss of life, loss of property. Why is it the government of India patronizing her? For God's sake, dump her. We don't need her over here in this country.
Do you think the government of India, let me put that point to you, instead of trying to be a government in a liberal democratic mode, should simply say that people like M.F. Hussain, people like Taslima Nasreen, or people who, even like Wendy Doniger, perhaps, who's writing certain books about Hinduism that people don't like, these people are not welcome in India, actually.
Well, actually, I think, you don't compare Hussain with Nasreen simply because Hussain is an Indian citizen and Nasreen is a foreigner. I do not see the merit of welcoming a foreigner into the country whose presence is bound to create confusion. I just don't think there's any merit in that at all. And I'm forced to agree with Mr. Owaisi that I do not think the government of India should encourage Taslima Nasreen.
And nor should it encourage M.F. Hussain to paint his paintings.
Absolutely
that
not.
Also is a terrible idea.
Absolutely not. Okay. Absolutely not. I don't think, in a society such as ours, where we live on a tinder box,
we cannot have people
who
stretch the boundaries. Right? We're completely out of time, unfortunately. Assaduddin Owaisi, Swapan Dasgupta, Amir Raza Hussain, thanks very much indeed for joining us. We've established on this show, I think, that the freedom of expression is simply not an absolute right in India, particularly in a country of diversities and sensitivities like this. We have to be careful about what we say and do in public. I think that's the kind of feeling coming out, although Shopon would perhaps disagree with that, but on the other hand, he also said that freedom of expression is not an absolute right. Thanks very much indeed for joining us. Does religious sentiment override freedom of expression? What are you telling us there? 78% saying yes.